Donald Trump went to Pennsylvania to give a pro-worker speech. They had signs that said "Workers for Trump," and everybody on stage was wearing these high visibility vests, and it's all BS. Donald Trump is one of the most anti-worker presidents we've ever had. He's hostile to unions. He's hostile to collective bargaining. He's hostile to workers' rights. And okay, but the whole concept is he's flailing. He's at 27% approval on the economy. We got to do something. Let's get him to Pennsylvania to speak to workers. What does Trump do? He immediately does the trans weightlifting dementia routine. Take a look, take a listen. This is the president, folks.
And she gets over the weights, and she stands, and then she gets him, and she gets him. And the mother's screaming, "Darling, I love you, darling." And the father's looking, saying she has no chance. And she's like this, "You see it?"
Is that how women lift weights?
Drops him. And she's like devastated for the rest of her life. And then a guy comes along who transitioned. That's the term.
He transitioned. That's what they call it. But that's a new term that the liberals came up with. Nasty people. I actually have some of the grunting on my soundboard here. Exactly. Vile and disgusting. And my question is, if you're a worker there, you're like, hey, Trump is going to do a speech about labor. It's going to be a speech about workers. Oh, I want to go to that because I'm struggling. And Trump's like, no. Do you feel better about what this administration is doing with regard to work? Different moment. Trump, struggling to speak, talks about Muslims.
But also Iran, we knocked them out. 1 week, it was essentially militarily over. Much bigger country, 91 million people. And much different ideology. The ideology of the Muslims is slightly different.
The ideology of the Muslims?
Than the ideology of the Catholics. We have the Catholics and the Muslims, slightly different. But Venezuela's been great and Iran's been great. I mean, you know, if Iran's reasonable, if they're smart, otherwise we'll have to finish the job, which will take about maybe less than a week. But they're going to be okay, I think. They're going to do what they have to do because
sure.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat
the most pro-worker speech in years from Trump. He's like, rah, Muslims. Trump says maybe he should run again. And sadly, a bunch of the crowd actually cheers for that crap. Anybody care about the Constitution?
They cheat like hell, but we won it by a lot, and maybe we should run again. Should we run one more time? I'd like
a little too much cheering there for my level of comfort. The topic of the UFC came up. And of course, if you're a struggling worker and you're trying to make ends meet, and Trump promised gas prices would be down, but they're up, and housing prices would be down, but they're up. And obviously, the UFC fight at the White House for Trump's birthday really resonates with the average worker. Trump addresses the UFC fight that took place at the White House, and he seems to say that there are no women in UFC. Kind of weird.
And you're fighting the toughest people on earth. I mean, these are the strongest, toughest men on earth. No women in the crowd, but which is nice. But
no women, which is nice? What does that mean?
These are the toughest men on earth, and it's tremendous pressure. And, you know, the muscles, you got the muscles, you guys, you got the big, strong muscles, but you got this muscle, too, because it takes much more than just the normal muscle to win those matches. I mean, the strategy and the genius that goes into it, it is a genius. A lot of people wouldn't understand that. But
Trump's smart enough to understand how smart the UFC fighters are. It's kind of an interesting thing. A lot of people don't have the capacity to understand how genius the UFC fighters are. But fortunately, Trump, because, you know, he's just naturally gifted and he went to Wharton and all of this stuff, he does have the intelligence to realize these UFC fighters are really, really smart. By the way, women do fight in the UFC. And finally, Donald Trump capping off his speech to workers. It's about workers with one of these infamous sir stories. Sir.
Tell about this police officer. I met a police officer first time, similar thing, but now the numbers are even more. I was in New York. I met a great police officer, New York finest. And he said, sir, I want to thank you.
Sir.
I said, for what? He said, my wife didn't think much of me, very much. We were having marital difficulty, actually. She thought I was nothing. I'm a police officer. I'm a tough guy. I looked at him. The muscles were all over the place. He didn't suffer from that. But she thought maybe that muscle wasn't so good because he was always losing money in the stock market. And he said, sir, in the last year and a half, my 401k is up 74%, sir. And she thinks I'm Warren Buffett. She thinks I'm a super genius.
Sir.
I said, how are you getting along with her? He said, well, I'm not so sure I like her anymore, but I won't tell you that.
You know, this is like, maybe this is something, maybe this is nothing. Trump's really talking a lot about the muscles and attractiveness of other guys lately. And this is not in any way kind of like, oh, is Trump really gay or something like that, which if you were, who cares? A bunch of people wrote to me and they said, you know, when I had a family member, male family member, who started experiencing Alzheimer's, they all of a sudden got kind of touchy and acted almost like attracted to men, even though they were, as far as we knew, heterosexual. And I don't know anything about it. I'm just bringing it up because I am noticing it and people wrote to me. Even during yesterday's speech to workers, Trump brought up multiple times men with great muscles that he likes. And he's brought it up recently when sports teams have come to the White House and good looking men. I don't know. Is there something there? Is it nothing? And I think it would be more related to whatever Trump's cognitive state is than some, you know, hidden homosexuality. I don't think at all that that's what's going on. What does anybody think of it? And maybe most importantly, if you're a worker and you've been struggling under Trump's economy, did this speech with grunting and sir stories and all of it, transphobia, did it reassure you that Donald Trump has the best interests of workers in mind? Let me know in a comment or send an email, info@davidpakman.com. Hearing aids have gotten shockingly expensive. Paying thousands of dollars for basic hearing aids does not add up. That is what our sponsor, MD Hearing, is here to fix. MD Hearing offers rechargeable digital hearing aids for less than 10% of what you'd pay at a traditional hearing clinic. MD Hearing's new Neo model fits inside the ear. It's nearly invisible. The Neo XS is their smallest hearing aid ever. No bulky hardware, no learning curve. Family friend of mine has used MD Hearing for years now. She loves the affordability. She thinks the virtual appointments are so convenient with MD Hearing's team of audiologists to help with the device from home. MD Hearing has sold over 2 million hearing aids, with customers consistently saying they outperform devices that cost up to 10 times more. Every purchase comes with a 60-day trial and a 100% money-back guarantee. For a limited time, MD Hearing is giving my audience a pair of hearing aids for just $247, plus you'll get a free extra charging case, a $100 value. Go to shopmdhearing.com. Use my promo code PAKMAN. The link is in the description.